I'm definitely not going to post this video before I review it. It's some controversial subject matter. But man, had another school shooting today. And the most fucked up part of it was I saw the headline, 3 dead. And my reaction was, internally, oh man, that's just not very much. I mean, thank God. Could have been a lot worse than that. But it's kind of vanilla, kind of trite. That was my reaction. And then I changed the channel. And then I realized exactly how fucked up that is. Never said I was a smart man. And here's the thing, I believe in the Second Amendment primarily so that we can overthrow a tyrannical government, or at least have the means of conducting guerrilla warfare or something. Have the means to put up some sort of fight. And I don't know how that would go with modern technology, but I sincerely believe that man has that innate right. Another innate right that man has is to defend himself. Defend, his family and his well-being. Property can include, well-being. Property can be included under well-being. If you're trying to steal the last bit of food I have, my kids are going to go hungry because of that. Well, you're either you're leaving feet first out of my house, or I am, and I certainly have the means to enforce my will. If you came into my castle uninvited and without a gun, you really fucked up. So if my dogs don't get you, I will. I'm sorry, I digress. That is not to say that there is not a heavy price to pay for those freedoms. When I'm not being, self-absorbed, selfish asshole, the news of the death of a child in such a violent manner would have evoked a much different reaction. God, it's one of my greatest fears. It's that any of y'all, any of my children, will die from a violent death. There are certainly worse ways to go than bullet to the head or something. A lot worse ways to go. Matter of fact, if I was on death row, that'd probably be the method I would take. But it's still a tragedy. Okay, not trying to make light of it. Fuck. Sorry. I can either take a quick break and drink some ice water, or I can do that old man thing, I think both of us are just in a better place if I just drink the water. So, anyhow, yeah, man, it's it's nothing to take lightly. I may not believe that life is as sacred as we hypocritically like to give lip service to the idea that it is in American culture. But still, sadness exists. Hopelessness exists. I know these things well. They have been boon companions, among other vices and self-indulgences. I'm sorry. I find myself so clever at times I forget my train of thought. Anyhow. Listen, don't fuck around with guns, okay? Unless you believe that you could kill somebody, don't own a gun. It'll just be taken from you, and used against you. One of my favorite jokes, I think it's based on a real story, but I can't remember anymore. But I think it involved Charlie Sheen somehow. Anyhow, they're up in the Arctic, wherever polar bears are, and they're on like a guided tour, and it's like Charlie Sheen and his brothers and his father, and they're being led through the wilderness by this very savvy guide. And they notice that this guide has a huge gun on his side. I mean, just like, a dirty, hairy special, 24-inch barrel, whatever you want to call it. And they notice on this gun that the hammer has been filed off. No, there's nothing. And it strikes them as strange. And so one of them asks the guy, hey, is that common around here? Is that custom? You always file that off? The guy says, well, this gun here is for polar bears. It's like 75 caliber or something crazy. 5 shots. He says, and the guy says, and hopefully that takes it down. They say, well, what if it doesn't take it down? Looking around nervously. And the guy says, well, that's why we file that down. So when the bear takes it from you and shoves it up your ass, it goes in a lot smoother. So, in that, the reason I tell that story is that it's an analogy. Hopefully, you figured that out. The invader of your castle, is the polar bear, and you're the guide. Don't let the polar bear take your gun, son. That's even worse than not having a gun. Okay? Instead, get some dogs, get alarm system, get lights. Don't be flashy. Don't be, one of those idiots on Facebook who, throws around stacks of money and all this shit, man. Don't tell anyone your fucking business financially. Okay? I mean, it goes way beyond that, but I don't want to sound too cynical. Anyhow, don't be showing pictures of your guns. People will want those. Just stay the fuck off social media. But if you can't, be very generic. Okay? Everybody likes pictures of cats. You'll be real popular. If someone ever points a gun at you, don't try and be a badass. And if they just want your fucking wallet, give it to them. But try not to get into those situations. Have situational awareness, and don't go into parts of town you shouldn't. Be cognizant of your surroundings. Now, if you do feel like you could kill somebody, then by all means get a gun or two. And it doesn't hurt to do all those other things as well. Okay? But just be careful. If you do get one, take a safety course. Take a course from an instructor that you trust and that has good references. Learn to be proficient in it and the upkeep of your weapons. Many things you can go cheap on in this world. Okay, I go cheap on slippers. I go through them, these cheap slippers. I've been going through a pair every 6 months my entire life. So I don't know how many fake seals had to die to make my fake seal slippers, but God bless them. I hope they're in toy heaven or whatever. Jesus. But don't go cheap on a gun. Okay? There are basically three classifications, maybe four classifications of guns that I'll talk about real quick. And I'm assuming that we are talking about home defense and maybe target shooting or something. It is fun to go shoot. Okay, so my favorite is pistol. Okay, there are many good brands out there. Go to a gun range and you can rent different guns at most of them, I would think. Never saw one that didn't, but anyhow. Like me personally, I don't care much for Glocks. Glocks, they're very reliable. You can't take anything away from them. You can drop those son of bitches into a volcano. 10 seconds later, rack one into the chamber and double tap somebody. Hey, if that's important for you, if you're a real outdoor guy, if that's who you turned into, then yeah, that might be really good. Beretta, to me, is incredibly accurate, incredibly intuitive in the hand. That was also your grandfather's favorite. So I guess maybe that's who I got it from. So the next one, talk about hunting rifles. I don't know a lot about hunting rifles. I'm not a hunter. And so find someone who is, and learn from them. And again, trust this. Look into their background and get reliable sources and stuff. Going into AR-15 type weapons. Again, I don't know very much about them. Okay, find someone who does. I've always looked at them as sort of overkill, for my purposes. Again, I'm just mainly about home defense. That's what's important to me. So I don't know. The world's an ever-evolving place. Well, the future is hopefully bright, but just as equally could be dangerous. And maybe you'll find the need or necessity for that type of firearm. Again, the only thing I could say is don't go cheap. But I can't speak to it much other than that. The last classification is shotguns. I do have some experience in shotguns. Just like with Beretta pistol, I view them as sort of functional artwork. Again, Beretta makes a great brand. For starter, Mossberg. You'll probably want to start off with a pump. Those are lots of fun. You can get 6 rounds, maybe 7, and they probably sell extenders too. But anyhow, that beats a break action or an over under where you can fire 2 shots and you gotta then open it up, take the shells out, put new shells in, blah blah. I mean, it's a matter of taste, but just shooting. There's something about shooting watermelons with a pump action shotgun that is just a lot of fun. Personally, I like 20 gauge. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of a pussy like that. I'm older now. 10 gauge, sure, okay. It'll blow the shit out of somebody. But a 20 gauge will kill somebody too. If I'm using a 20 gauge, it's because they're on my property, uninvited, with what I suspect is malicious intent, either through action or word, or if I just don't like the fucking look of them. Okay, stay the fuck off my property unless you're invited. So, again, my dogs don't get you, I will. So, but anyhow, son, enough bravado. As fun as that is. Always treat handguns, any firearm, with a maximum amount of respect. It's like I told your siblings, a firearm is death. That is its goal, is to be a force equalizer, a force maximizer, whatever you want to call it. Always treat them with respect. Always assume they're loaded. I don't even like to have one in the chamber. A lot of people, whatever, man. I'm very fast with that. If you can get to me before I can rack one in the chamber as I'm bringing it up, hey man, you just got me. I mean, there's always a fish more clever than yourself. And to quote a great movie. But that's just me. I'm just overly cautious about them. And I wish everybody was, actually. There's far too many fucking tragedies. If you are a firearm owner later in life, and get a gun safe, stress to your children the same things I've told you, but do better if you can. Never take safety for granted. Do not ever be the type of gun owner who uses it to make up for feelings of inadequacy. Don't, you know, wear it on your hip, exposed, walking around like Clint Eastwood in a spaghetti western. You go looking for trouble will fucking find you. I goddamn guarantee it, son. Take it from experience. Ignore at your peril. Don't ever point a gun at someone unless you are going to kill them. That's the only time you point a gun at somebody. I can't stress that enough. And understand what you're doing. Don't handle them when you're, drunk or high. Obey all the local laws. Don't go into a bar with them or whatever the school zone laws are now. Don't fuck around with that shit. Yeah. It's real easy just to drink at home. And it's cheaper too. And I don't know about the school zone stuff. But a man who uses a gun to extract revenge or to shake off feelings of inadequacy is nothing but a coward. An absolute dirtbag. I'm gonna get some water. Hold on one second. Yeah, sorry about that. If you're watching this far into the future, yeah, this is a cigarette. They're probably illegal by the time you're my age. So there you go. Yeah, I was a real big dummy. Okay, hope you don't smoke. But yeah, these school shooters. The first school shooting I remember is Columbine. I don't know why that was a watershed school shooting, because there were school shootings before that. Maybe it was the largest one at the time. I can't remember, but for whatever reason, it became a cultural touch point. So it's like the corollary of a famous one word name singer, Madonna, Gaga, Swift, Columbine. So, and then we all thought shit'll fucking change. Not for the better. The one that really broke my heart was Sandy Hook. A lot of weak-minded people like that schmuck Alex Jones. Okay, to me, he's not a man. He's a fucking bully. He put those families through hell for $1. He made money off of the bodies of little children. To me, that's a punk. What a schmuck. What a loathsome fucking individual. Just a little while ago, we had a CEO of a healthcare company, insurance company, get shot. People cheering for him. You know, man, that's fucked up. I'm not going to go any further. I don't want to be encouraging violence. But if something really bad happened to that man, I'd probably be smiling a little bit as I went to sleep that night. What a hell of a legacy. What an absolute hell of a legacy. I'm sorry, son. I've been rambling. Just miss you. 26 minutes. That might be a record. I don't know. It's the holidays. You know. I'll look at this in the morning and you see it. Hope you take some of this advice to heart. If you don't see it, then it was nice talking to you regardless. I love you. Oh, and one more thing, okay? If you do carry a firearm on you, okay, conceal carry. That is my advice. And I say that because if you open carry, in other words, have it like these guys I see sometimes who have it on their hip, in the grocery store. To me, that's the wrong way to approach it, okay? Primarily, my first thought is it makes you a target. If I had nefarious intent inside one of those stores, the first thing I would do would be to take out someone who was open carrying. It's just, hey, there's a threat. What am I going to do to a threat? Neutralize it. So, am I doing a Forrest Whitaker thing here? I don't know, man. God, he's a good actor. Not as good as Denzel, but, if we're talking about black actors, man, I'll watch just anything with either of those guys in it. Last King of Scotland, my God, man. Oh, man, Forrest Whitaker acted his balls off in that. But I digress. And Training Day with Denzel. So, me and Danny loved that movie. Anyhow, like I said, it makes you a target in more ways than, one. While you're reaching up to grab some Cheerios, someone might just come up behind you and take it out of its holster. Or might neutralize you from behind to access that way. It makes you the target of theft. Oh, man. And, lastly, it can just provoke really negative emotions in some people. And you never know what people have been through. Someone might have seen their whole family gunned down in front of them. And they see that gun you open carrying, they start having some sort of, flashback. Why risk that? Why risk, making yourself a target, getting your head blown off, or worse, and, causing hysteria in somebody? Now, yeah, I mean, to you and me, maybe, it doesn't make a lot of sense, okay? But your mom and I used to have this small puppy named Stoney. I was letting little Stoney, he was a cute little basset hound puppy, run in this public park and we saw this girl. She was I don't know, late teenager. And he ran towards her, and she freaked out. Started crying and just shaking and shit, man. Thank God, man. I felt so bad, but it's like, it's just a puppy, But I don't know what that woman went through. Well, I don't know what, if she had some sort of mental retardation or something, man. I mean, I'm not trying to, be a smartass here. That's nothing to fucking joke about. Well, only maybe sometimes. I guess it depends on the crowd, okay? I don't want to, as fucked up as my sense of humor is, I certainly don't want to be, kink shaming you, as it were. I can watch Louis C.K. 24/7. So, anyhow, so yeah, I just wanted to add to that. I'm gonna get back to my videos and eat my ice cream. Love you. Bye.